Hi guys, my name's Gabriella and welcome to Pass the Controller podcast. I'm joined by James.
Hello.
Hi, I'm joined by Liam.
Hello.
Hello. Joined by Sam.
Hello.
Hello. And I'm joined by Chris.
Howdo.
Cool. Awesome. So we are going to be talking about games, because that's what we like to do here at Pass the Controller. So we've got a few topics. Hooray!
Games.
Yay, games. So we're going to just talk about a few topics. Mostly it's going to revolve around the releases. Obviously you've had Nintendo Switch that has been announced, Red Dead Redemption. October's been a really good a month for games. So I think we should just start by talking about Nintendo Switch. James, what's your opinions on it, about the announcement?
The logo's red.
Yes, it's red.
That's different.
Yeah.
And I think the funniest thing about it is that it feels like, in a way, that Nintendo's gone back around and embraced their retroness. Because I always remember the Nintendo logo as being red traditionally, and I think it was for many a year. But then on the kind of the Wii genre, Wii era, they changed it to silver to be all modern and cool. And now it's back to red again. So I was like, yeah, I can get on board with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the important thing is the actual console does look pretty cool. I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of waiting and seeing how it actually works in practice. But I think the potential of it might not appeal to everyone. And I think that will be, and probably it might be the most divisive part of it. But I think definitely there's something in it for me anyway.
It feels like a really good concept, doesn't it? I mean, they're trying to get its portability, and things like that. So I'm interested in it. What about you, Liam? What do you think?
Well, I don't know. I was thinking about the portability bit the other day, and that it's not going to be like a 3DS, which before I could just put in my pocket for things like street parts. But I mean, that thing's going to need a bag to carry it around, like a special dedicated case.
It's quite big, isn't it? Obviously.
You mean you don't have like MC Hammer parachute pants and massive pockets?
Oh,
no, I'm afraid not.
No, that's disappointing.
Maybe they'll sell special. I can just imagine special Nintendo branded trousers with like epically massive pockets.
Nice.
Just like down the side there. That could work.
Just wearing it around your neck like a Flavor Flav clock or something.
Yeah. What about you, Sam? What do you think?
Like on a chain.
Sorry to bring the mood down. Not a fan.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah, it just doesn't appeal to me.
That's the response that
really.
It's got most of the time. It's either people are really excited about it, or they're sort of they just not interested.
I thought the trailer itself was bad. I think the console's ugly. I think if you're leading on a software front with Skyrim, which is a 5-year-old game, and the remaster, which isn't actually confirmed to be coming to the NX, which will be a travesty if it doesn't, when again they led with it in their reveal trailer.
What do you think of Legend of Zelda as well? Do you think they'll, obviously, because that's their main sort of game that they're releasing?
That looks cool. It's just obviously the Switch is built around this whole gimmick of the Switch. It's literally in the name, switching from TV to portable. It's just not something that I would ever use, so it's not something that interests me.
I was interested in it.
Yeah.
I'm in the grumpy corner with Sam, really. I can't get too excited about it.
Yeah. I think it's for a certain genre, isn't it? Like a certain audience.
Yeah, I mean, I've never really been a fan of the whole portable thing, so that puts us off.
I think a lot of it depends on the like where you are, like your lifestyle and stuff like that. Because like people who are commuting and stuff like that, who have a more kind of natural portion of their working day or their daily routine for a device to kind of slip into, those people who might enjoy gaming like in the evenings and weekends and like have DSs and stuff, but maybe have lapsed a little bit. They haven't bought any new games for a while. This might be something which can kind of entice them back, and it will stop them kind of drifting off into the more general mobile game.
Do you guys think that Nintendo are trying to sort of appeal to a sort of family audience more so than a than sort of like our age range, for example? Because I know that Xbox kind of go down that line of sort of like family orientated content. Do you think that Nintendo are probably trying to do the same thing, or do you think they're trying to appeal to the masses?
I think in a way they've been, the trailer at least kind of paints them more of a 20-something, 30-something millennials-y fancy people picture rather than like families and stuff, because there weren't any kids in that trailer.
Yeah, so if we were to compare it to something like PlayStation Pro, for example, well, firstly, I think it's amazing that they're releasing a Pro version now. So, but what are your guys' thoughts about it, about the PlayStation Pro?
I have it pre-ordered.
It's not something I'm going to be getting.
Sorry, Liam. Go on.
No, it's just, I mean, I think I kind of do want a PS4, but I just, I don't know. There's not really much need for me to get one, so the Pro doesn't really interest me. I mean, there's only a handful of exclusives that maybe I'm interested in, but not enough to get me excited about, really.
I had this conversation with James a couple of weeks ago. Like, it seems like a really interesting upgrade, but is it necessary? Like, you need to warrant the money that you're going to be spending on it. I mean, this is what, £350, £400. I don't know. I can't remember how much it's retailing for.
It's £350.
It's £350. So yeah, the same as a brand new PS4, whereas or Xbox. But I mean, obviously you've got your 4K resolution. Is there anything else that's like incentive to buy it?
Improved frame rates as well.
You got the frame rates
as well. Better visuals in VR is a big part of why I'm looking to get it. But yeah, I've got a 4K TV, so 4K resolution, great.
Yeah.
And as well, as I say, higher frame rates, great, and better visual fidelity in VR, great. So it's a win all round for me. So I've got one pre-ordered.
Yeah. What about you, Chris?
I think it's good for people who want a PS4 but don't yet have one.
Yeah.
Like, if I already had one, I'm not sure if I would upgrade. But for anyone thinking about getting one, I think the Pro's the obvious choice. Plus, with like Sam said, the improved VR stuff as well.
Yeah, I think
if I was going to get one,
technology. I think the technology makes all the difference, because like Sam says, is he's already got VR, and because he's already got his 4K TV, he's set up. He's already invested in that stuff. So it's not like you're starting from scratch and you're just kind of sitting around with a normal TV, but it's not going to make the most of that.
Sam, do you have a PlayStation 4 at the moment?
Yes, I do.
You do, obviously, because you got the VR. Well, since we touched on VR, we can talk about that for a little bit. PSVR. So, obviously, VR has been on the market for a while now. It's and PlayStation have obviously released their version of their VR. What are your thoughts? I know that Sam's done a few reviews on it. I played it at Eurogamer briefly for a couple of minutes. I know that James obviously isn't too much of a fan from what I've heard, or it's something that's obviously not really interested you or grabbed your attention.
It's fine, but it's not going to make me buy a PS4, I guess, is the key thing.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Liam?
Yeah, it had me tempted, because I tried the Vive in the summer, and that really, really like got me into VR. Like I wanted to get it after that straight away. I didn't want to come back to reality after trying it. But I mean, I don't have a gaming PC or anything that can run Vive, so I was looking at the PSVR as my way of getting into VR, sort of on a budget in a way. I mean, I know it's still about £800, but
yeah, I know the Vive's going for crazy amounts, and the same as the Oculus as well. I mean, the Oculus has sort of dominated the market. I for a while, but that's one thing that interests me about the PSVR is its price, I mean, Sam, you've got to play more of it. You've played a couple of games and done a few reviews on them. So what's your opinion on it overall, if you were to summarize it?
It's really cool. I will be, if it goes the way of Kinect and ends up dying because people don't adopt it and don't get on board, I can see myself being quite annoyed. I think it's never going to be like the main, it's never going to like replace the TV and conventional gaming, but as an aside.
Yeah, that's
It's
something that
very, very cool.
That's something that it's a good. I feel like it's a good sort of additional feature to your gaming repertoire. It shouldn't replace anything. But who's managed to play it? Has anyone played the Vive, the HTC Vive?
Yeah, that's
Just
the one I
Liam, I think.
tried.
You've tried it. So, and have you tried the PSVR
Yeah.
as well?
No, and I want
You
to
haven't- you
because I want to see if it will just be as good in my eyes as like the Vive was, because that was really fun. Having
Yeah.
that space and being able to move around, like walk around a bit, felt like proper VR. I want to see if PSVR
It
can
doesn't.
sort of
It
live
doesn't
up to
have that. I'll immediately.
No, I mean, I
Burst
know it
burst
doesn't have.
that bubble.
I know it
It's,
doesn't have the moving
yeah,
around
yeah.
thing.
PSVR is mostly like stationary seated experiences, whereas
Okay.
it doesn't have the room scale thing.
Mm.
See, Vive is the only one I haven't used. I've used Oculus and PSVR.
Mm.
Honestly, they're pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
But,
I'd agree with that in the sense that in terms of the game, I haven't played some of the more challenging games out there like Elite Dangerous and stuff like that. They've got kind of more depth to them. I played kind of the more straightforward games, which you can some of them which you can get on like Gear VR and stuff as well. I mean, there seems to be, apart from maybe you can notice the PS4 VR kind of pixels a little bit more if you're directly comparing. I think other than that, it was a fairly comparable experience. I think for me, this kind of magical middle ground, which Mark Zuckerberg was talking about in the recent Oculus presentation, actually, is the kind of the key corner of the market, and whoever nails that first will get it. And what they're basically talking about is something which is a little bit more substantial than plugging a phone into a bit of plastic or whatever, or a bit of cardboard, and is basically powerful enough to stand on its own and not need like a load of wires and what have you, and be quite kind of lightweight and simple, but still kind of offer those kind of, I guess, mobile, if you want to call it that, mobile VR games plus, if you like, somewhere between mobile and like the full scale stuff.
Mm-mm. So, Chris,
has it been selling well, the PSVR? Sorry.
No, I'm not
gone.
sure actually. To be honest with you,
is it what did you say, Liam? Sorry,
has it been selling well?
I don't think
Have they
released
released
any
numbers
figures.
or anything? Yeah.
No, I know it's been sold out at a lot of places. So going on,
Nothing that I've
stock
seen.
levels available.
If we know Sony and their approach to sales, they'd like to shout about stuff when stuff's going really well. So I think it's pretty likely that the numbers are not going to be, mind blowing. But if you think about it, we're at the end of October, beginning of November right now. So this is the key time for them to hook people into those Christmas purchases when some of the most money.
Pro.
Yeah,
Pro
that's just about to say.
People are waiting for the Pro. They'll get.
Yeah, so many people will be kind of waiting on that in terms of a full package, and especially when you're talking about the vast majority of where the gaming money comes from, if you like, which is those mums and relatives who are asked to buy stuff for people at Christmas and everything. Then they're really lucky, frankly, if they get that sort of stuff for Christmas.
Yeah,
but
I know. Right? Yeah.
But I mean, that's going to be the key. I think once we get past Christmas, and then if Sony decide to shout about something, then I think that's what it will be.
Yeah. I think James is right. It's I think the same would apply for Xbox as well. I think they're both quite vocal in their sales, and if they do well, they won't be ashamed to voice their opinion about it and post it everywhere. I was just going to say, Chris, you said briefly before that obviously VR isn't something that you were really interested in. Is there a reason for that? Is it just, or do you just prefer to obviously stick to the conventional, just TV and games?
I'm interested in it. It's just the sort of price that I can't really justify.
It's a lot. It's a lot for a headset. But obviously, again, like PlayStation could argue that. So, but
and then you need to buy a
console as well.
Exactly. You got all the additional extras to pay for it. You got the controllers, and I know you can get the bundle. Sam, did you get when you purchased the PSVR? Did you get the bundle, or did you get it just the headset?
They aren't doing the bundle in the UK.
Oh, are they not?
In the UK, you can just get the headset. It's America exclusive. You can get the dual motion controllers, VR worlds, and the headset, but they didn't bring it out over here for some unknown
Do you know
reason.
how much
I
it
would
was
have gotten
retailing
that,
for?
but I think $500.
500. See, that's still a hell of a lot, isn't it? Plus you need the actual PlayStation itself. So
Yeah, I think it's $400 for just the headset, $500 for the bundle,
Oh my god.
and then
So
£350
how
for
much
just the
did you
headset.
manage to get for everything then?
What did I buy the contents of that bundle for separately?
Yeah. Or did you not get the Move controllers as well?
Yeah, I did get the Move controllers, but I was canny, and I picked up old PS3 ones, like way ahead of VR coming out. I preempted it. So whilst they were still cheap, now you cannot pick them up cheap, but whilst they were cheap, I got them.
Yeah, I looked those up the other day, like an Eye and Move controllers, and they're going for quite a lot now. Well, I think more than they normally would be.
Well, I actually had one Move controller already that I had for the PlayStation 3 that I used, with the Eye, and played some like House of the Dead Overkill and some light gun games and things. So I just had to get one more, which was about £20, I want to say, for a new one. But now, you'd be talking double that.
I mean, it's something for me. I was planning to buy PSVR on purchase on release day, but something told me just to wait. I don't know why. I've got it at work, so I can like play things there. But as a student, like it's really difficult to be able to justify that much money. I mean, you'd be paying that for a console anyway. But as much as I really enjoyed playing Farpoint and spending time with the headset and getting used to how it works, it's still it's a lot of money. But then again,
is the bundle going to come to Europe at any time? Has anyone said anything about that?
Not that's been announced.
It's a weird decision.
And if they were going to do it, they would have done it. Yeah.
Yeah, they would have done it by now, wouldn't they? Yeah. Okay.
Because that's put me off, like having to go around piecing things together. That's put me off, like seriously thinking about it.
It does. The costs do quickly ramp up because my brother came round, tried it, fell in love with PSVR, and he's having my old PS4 when I upgrade to the Pro. He's had to obviously buy his own PSVR, so that's $350 for that, and then the games he's bought, I think probably like £80 or something on games he spent, but then he's had to spend £60 on the controllers. And he spent like a tenner on a charging dock for those controllers. Plus, he's had to change his TV stand to fit the PS4 and the VR box on it. All told, he's, I don't know, probably double the price of the actual headset itself to get fully set up for it.
It's crazy, isn't it?
So even with the console, it's still a lot.
Yeah.
Crazy. Right, we'll just talk briefly about Red Dead Redemption. Who's excited?
2.
Who's excited? 2, exactly. Yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2. Yeah, who's excited about Red Dead Redemption?
I am. I'm looking forward to that.
I am. I never got round to playing the first one, but it's.
What's wrong with you, people?
I know. But it always intrigued me, like the setting.
I started it though.
I played it and completed it. The only one I didn't finish was the Undead Nightmare because I got stuck. I think it glitched or something. I just never finished that. So John Marston's still a zombie somewhere for me.
That's fine. That's canon now. That's fine. They'll write that in.
Cool.
I mean, there wasn't much to see in the trailer anyway. I mean, it was nice, like seeing something, but
it reminded me of that GTA 5 reveal trailer that they did, which was all like touring around Los Santos, and everyone was walking in the mountains and looking through binoculars, and there was animals around and stuff like that. And I was like, "What is this game? What is going to be happening in this game?" It just kind of like, yeah. I mean, the first Red Dead Redemption, I played it on 360. I enjoyed it, and to be honest, the multiplayer was really underrated. There was some nice bits in there. But I had proper Rockstar syndrome with the single player, similar to GTA 5, which I've just not done anything with. I didn't even start the single player really.
What?
They do. Rockstar have those effect on you. There's the Rockstar syndrome. I like that.
It's the same. I mean, I did it with GTA 5 as well. Although Max Payne I did finish, but I think that's more of a kind of a bit of an oddball case, I suppose, because they kind of took that from Remedy and made it their own, I suppose. But I don't know, something about the way those games work, particularly when they're open world, it's just kind of there's such an overwhelming amount of stuff going on. I guess it probably speaks more to my approach to open world games as a whole, but I guess when it's the old west and everything is about a million miles away from each other, and you're just kind of riding around on a horse for half an hour to get anywhere, I think that's just what took its toll on me.
Are you going to go back now it's backwards compatible before it comes out?
I have thought about it. I don't have it just lying around because I don't have any 360 games anymore. If I did, I probably would have slapped it in by now and had a look see. But I mean, I don't know. I think really that, again, sort of similar to GTA, what draws me to those sorts of games is the multiplayer side of things. And so from that point of view, whatever they call, Red Dead Online or whatever, that kind of multiplayer component, which they've at least said will definitely be around, that was probably what will draw me to buy the game more so than the game itself, which is kind of a weird concept when you think about, what you're actually paying for.
Yeah,
it's strange because I played the multiplayer in Red Dead more than the single player. I played a hell of a lot of the multiplayer, and I guess like you with GTA 5, didn't really touch the single player. But with GTA 5, the single player, 100%ed it, adore it, 10 out of 10. GTA Online is not my thing.
Yeah, that
would actually lower my
so
score on the game.
Yeah, it received. So obviously, when it was released, it was terrible. It was in terrible condition. Like it wasn't finished. It wasn't. Apart from and there was a release. There was like a patch release a couple of weeks after or a couple of days after. I can't remember. It's so long ago now. But I remember everybody was so angry about that, about GTA.
I spent I remember I was at my mum and dad's house. It was a 3-year anniversary this week, I think.
Happy anniversary!
I was staying at my mum and dad's house for whatever reason, God knows. And I had it all plugged into the TV in the kitchen, and I was just sitting there with the screen on, and you got to this point where you were in the clouds hovering over the city while it's decided whether it was going to load or not, and just again and again had to retry trying to join Grand Theft Auto Online, and it wouldn't do it for love nor money, wouldn't do it. So it was kind of one of those things which was like an experience, a moment in time, if you like, for gaming. But hopefully they'll avoid that sort of. Well, yeah. Hopefully they'll avoid that kind of experience with Red Dead Redemption.
Do you think it was a sensible decision?
I can see it happening again.
Is that something?
I mean, it's going to be so popular and so many people trying to play it. It will happen again. Yeah. Definitely.
Do you think it was a sensible decision for them to wait until after E3 to announce it? Because I remember everybody went ape. They were like, "Why didn't they announce Red Dead? This is atrocity. Something's happening." And then, long behold, a few months later.
I mean, the thing is, they just don't need to.
Yeah,
they just don't need. They don't need E3.
There was a rumor that it was supposed to be announced at Sony's press conference at E3, but the Orlando nightclub shooting caused it to be cancelled at the very last minute.
Yeah, I remember that actually. Yeah, because it happened with Mafia 3 as well. They said at the beginning, they said, "Look, like, I think this was with I can't remember who covered it." But yeah, it was actually I remember that. It was a very sensitive time. So yeah, I understand that actually, to be honest. But
I mean, even regardless, I think it would have been a big boon for Sony, and Frank, even considering that in a conference which they didn't really need any more Trump cast.
I was going to say that would have been off that conference.
Yeah, that was just like pack up, go home. But I mean, fortunately they were last, so they didn't need to worry. But yeah, I mean, the brand of Grand Theft Auto is something a bit different to Red Dead Redemption. I mean, I think it is interesting how big Red Dead is as a franchise, if you can call it that, because on the very day or the very day after the sequel was revealed properly, after the endless teasing, I had two random people who I hadn't, not random people, but people who I'd just met that day. They brought it up in conversation with me quite naturally, and they were gaming fans, so it wasn't like they were my mum's best friend Ethel or anything like that, but you know, they are it's kind of a unifying it was quite a unifying piece of news, I think, for the community, in the sense that it had been kind of so anticipated for so long.
That's what I love about highly anticipated games. Like there's so much hype that's created from them, and it's just a great time. I mean, the last time I remember, I mean, you've got so many games that are coming out. You've got like God of War, you've got Resident Evil as well. We'll talk about that in a second. Horizon Zero Dawn.
There's a big load of stuff coming from PlayStation camp. I think that's fair to say. You know, they've definitely from that point of view, they've definitely kind of, I don't know if from a numbers point of view they've doubled down, but it definitely felt like this year, coming out of E3, they've kind of brought out, you know, they've played a lot of their cards, I guess.
Yeah.
And obviously they've got the Last Guardian around the corner now. That's gone gold as well, finally.
Yeah,
I understand.
About time. Jeez, it took forever to come out, didn't it? What is, like 7 years in development, something like that? Somebody correct me with my stats. I think something like 7 years. Crazy. Battlefield 4. Who's played it?
Or one.
Battlefield 1. Sorry, Battlefield 1.
Otherwise, we're going back in time a little bit there.
No, Battlefield 1.
But yeah, Battlefield 1. I've been playing
for review,
which will be coming soon, I guess, or possibly out by the time this comes out. Who knows? It's a crazy, mixed up world. Yeah, I think. Well, I won't give too much away, I guess, at this point. Won't go on about it, but I guess overall, it feels very different to Battlefield 4 as a kind of direct comparison. And I mean, particularly Hardline, because obviously that was a different style of game anyway. But when you play it, it kind of leans heavily on the World War One aspect of it, but not in a kind of, I guess, over the top way, in a kind of what you might kind of assume a Call of Duty fashion, like how they've had so many kind of No Russian and other, classic COD controversial for the sake of being controversial moments in previous games over the years. I think it really manages to steer clear of all of that sort of thing by, I would say, being fairly respectful to all of that sort, all of the World War One history and everything, really. I suppose I think one of the biggest parts of it is when you literally start off the game and go into like a prologue, which is a series of voiceovers and introducing kind of the, not necessarily giving a historical account, but like the feelings, I guess, of some of the people who were involved, or actors talking about presumably real people, who knows. But you then get kind of thrown into someone's shoes and you're just there on the battlefield, and as it's all just such an overwhelming experience, because you at this point you haven't been told how to do anything or what's going on or anything like that. And as soon as your character gets knocked out or killed or whatever, then you jump out of that person and you see their name, and then 1898 to 1916 or something like that on the screen, and then you're jumping off into another
Hello.
Hello, James.
Oh dear.
No.
Is this where we get like a James Parry 1989 or whatever kind of thing?
R.I.P.
Okay, I think we've lost him. Right, we'll move on to Liam. Liam, have you it's Battlefield 1? I keep calling it 4 for some reason. Battlefield 1, something that's have you played it? Are you interested in it?
I played the beta, and I am interested in it, but I think it's mainly for the campaign rather than the multiplayer.
Do you know, that's the same with me. Yeah.
Yeah, it called my anticipation for it. It didn't really do much for me, and I think, I don't know, it's not worth getting it on day one. If I'm just going to play it for the campaign, I can just wait until it depreciates in value a little bit and then pick it up then.
Yeah, you're gonna wait.
And it will still, it's Battlefield. It will still have a populated, like, a load of people playing it still. So I can, if I want to jump back into the multiplayer, I can.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to trying it, but yeah, just still cautious.
Yeah, same with me. Sam, what about you?
My approach is exactly the same as every other EA game, which is wait for it to go free on EA Access.
Yeah.
So I've not played the beta. I have no interest in purchasing it. I totally ignore EA games until they go free on Access, and then I play them.
I'll probably do the same. I went into Asda the other day and I was looking through the R's and I was like, oh, I really want to get it. I might pick it up in a couple of days, but I think it's a sensible decision just to wait until the prices go down. Same with VR, really. Sorry, James, you got cut off there. You were having a really good discussion then, and then for some reason we
I
just
was in the middle of a moment, and I made a technical error. But yeah, in a nutshell, I think it's difficult to keep up that sort of momentum that you get from kind of having such a strong opening and carrying it through a game like that. So we'll have to see if I give it a little bit more time how it kind of shapes up. But all in all, which I guess would recommend for people who are fans of Battlefield at the very least.
Yeah, cool. Okay, Sam, you mentioned briefly, sort of on the topic of VR as well, about Resident Evil 7. I managed to play it, the demo blew me away. I'm really excited for it. I think it's got huge potential. It's a bit of a sort of steer away from the traditional sort of conventional Resident Evil games, obviously because they're third person traditionally. But what are your thoughts about it?
I played the demo as well. Loved it. I really like. I mean, basically they're just copying PT, so they're not being particularly creative. But everyone wanted to see Silent Hills come to fruition. It's obviously not going to happen. So Resident Evil is the next best thing. And after playing the kitchen demo, which is available for free for PSVR, oh god, it's terrifying.
I know.
Resident Evil 7 is going to kill people.
Yeah.
People are going to die.
Literally going to kill people. Yeah.
No, you heard it here first, folks.
It needs to come with a health warning. It is not nice, but in a fun way. If you like being scared, you need to play Resident Evil 7 in VR.
Is that your console of choice? Obviously, VR. It wouldn't be PS4.
Yeah, I've been quite surprised actually. I'm very much an Xbox One person, but since PlayStation VR has come out, I've very much been
turning to the dark side.
Yeah. So as well with the Pro, because it'll be 4K compatible with the Pro and that. So I think I'll probably start until the Scorpio comes out. I'll probably start to get a lot of third-party stuff on the PlayStation for the Pro support and the VR support.
Yeah, fair enough. Chris, what do you think?
I'm a fan of the first 3 Resident Evils, but when the 4th one came out, it was a bit too actiony for me. So this looks like a real return to form. As Sam said, it's going to kill people.
It's literally going to kill people.
We're going to get a reputation with so many people going on about people dying.
Yeah, I know. That'd be terrible, wouldn't it? No. Not really.
See, I'm the opposite of that. I enjoyed the sort of more action approach of 4 because the first 3 just gave me nightmares. I mean, I was young when they came out and I used to watch my brother play them. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of being scared, so I was quite happy when they went not as scary in 4.
I really enjoyed Code Veronica.
7 is not going to be for me.
Yeah.
I'd definitely say I'm in Liam's camp there, to be honest, as well. I mean, I tried very, very hard on the GameCube re-release of the original Resident Evil to kind of push through it, but similar to my legendary failure at BioShock, it was a slow process that I didn't ever really get through. In fact, I think it was one of the few games that I ended up turning to a proper old school walkthrough manual, primer game style manual to kind of get my head around some of the puzzles. Did you play as
Chris?
No, play as Jill because it was easier.
Jill's for the win.
I was going to say, I understand if you played as Chris, but you should have been able to get through it as Jill.
Well, I'm
calling your gamer cred into question here.
That's in tatters after all those years. But I think what I do kind of one of the moments from the series that do stick with me, because I played 4 as well, and well, not on the GameCube, but on the Wii re-release version. And the moment, really, one of the big moments which stuck with me was actually from the remake, was when you're exploring one of the cabins at the back of the mansion. You're reading someone's diary, and it's kind of like, he's talking normally, and then gradually he starts to talk about the fact that he's longing for brains and this sort of thing, and it's like, Ted made me angry, so ate Ted.
Oh yeah, that was. I remember that was freaky.
Yeah, and then of course, spoiler warning. And then of course, you come out of reading the diary and turn around, and he just walks out of the wardrobe behind you and scares the hell out of you. So
yes, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is that's one of the definitive Resident Evil feeling moments for me. Definitely, that really defines it in my eyes. I mean, more time with it more recently. I've played Revelations 2, which I think was nice in the sense that it was short bursts of it, and I think that plays to my complete pansiness of not being able to tolerate more than that. But 4, I guess I really embraced. I played 5 as well. I was not as good at 5 as I was at 4, because the co-op is hard without a non-AI partner. I think that was what let me down a little bit, if I'm honest. But it's easy to blame your tools, and I think it's definitely an interesting twist to see it kind of come back to this kind of very gritty, very kind of, I guess, kind of topical in a way. It's not just PT, but a lot of other, Five Nights at Freddy's and other stuff has really kind of tapped into that sort of jump scare, visceral feel of horror in more recent years, even as far back as like Dead Space and stuff like that as well.
I think VR have got a very good opportunity there, with obviously Resident Evil.
I was going to say, if you and Liam dislike being scared, you definitely wouldn't want to play it in VR, because I like being scared, but I watched so much horror and played so many horror games that I'm totally desensitized to everything. Nothing bothers me. But put me in VR. Yeah, put me in VR and it's totally rejuvenated it. It's like I can enjoy horror again.
Yeah.
It's actually scary.
See, it feels like the horror element sort of faded away after Resident Evil 4, and it became more sort of action orientated, because I remember playing Resident Evil 5 like heavily, like how Call of Duty players play Call of Duty. That was how much I was playing it. I was playing it for probably about 2 years straight. Like, I don't know what it was about it. I really enjoyed it, but for me, obviously the horror element sort of faded, and then obviously you've got Resident Evil 7, which is sort of a nice departure, and it's very much like PT, like Sam said, which I'm really looking forward to. So hopefully,
I think it's nice to have a balance in a series between like that kind of more arcadey feel and more kind of hardcore feel. I think it's really funny in a way that Resident Evil can get away with it without being a complete joke. I mean, I know to some people it is after like 6 and stuff, but I think the fact that it's come back. Yeah, I mean, I think you're right to say that. I think there was plenty of people who did, but I know of some people who kind of wrote it off a little bit after that. But I'm sure that even those people are being kind of drawn back by this new iteration.
Mm-hmm. Cool. We'll talk briefly about Horizon Zero Dawn. I don't know whether you guys have followed this back. I think it was announced a year ago. Can't remember.
It was E3 last year.
It was E3. Yeah, it was E3 last year. What are your thoughts about it? What do you think? I'm extremely excited about it. I get very excited about female protagonists. For me, like, it was something. It's always an iconic thing. Growing up, I used to play Tomb Raider. My first game I ever played was Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So to see like a female protagonist, yeah.
And you got into games on the back of that and didn't run in the opposite direction.
No, I loved it because Buffy for me.
There was a Buffy game.
Brilliant. Yeah, there was a Buffy game. Did you not know that? No,
it's like PS2.
No, it was Xbox back in the Xbox days. And
well, yeah, PS2. It will have been on multi-platform on both.
But it was really good. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, I'm just really excited to see another potentially strong female protagonist in a video game. So what are your thoughts about it, guys? Is it something that's interesting to you, or is it something you just want to put aside and?
It's something I'll play, if only because it's 4K on PS4 Pro. I'm slightly dubious about
You
it.
sound like a marketing guy right now.
I'll only play
Well,
it.
I don't know about you, but I'll be playing it on PS4 Pro, as you should be too.
Only $349.99. But yeah, I'm slightly dubious about the gameplay. To me, it looks like Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor, which to a lot of people is probably high praise because that game was adored by many. But even as a big Lord of the Rings fan, I didn't really like it. And this just looks like more of that, so I assume I won't really like it.
It looks. I mean, so obviously not being in the PS4 camp, I won't be playing it anyway. But from my outside perspective, it feels kind of like there's a lot of familiar mechanics and elements in there. It looks like they're jumbled together in a nice way, but it may fall into the same trap that Record did in this for equivalent for Xbox, in the sense that there's some nice elements in there, but it doesn't necessarily carry through to an entire game. Like there's not enough to it. But I don't know how big we're expecting it to be. I think it's only supposed to be single player, isn't it?
Yeah, so far I think from what I've read, it should only be just single player.
Yeah, so I think the comparisons there, it invites it a little bit in terms of female protagonists, although Jewel in Recore's not a massively strong character or anything, but a female character nonetheless, with a collection of robots, and it with a kind of fairly relatively open world feel, and just kind of exploring around and stuff like that. I mean, I think that there's definitely a market for it. I mean, they've obviously just released released for the first time, I should say, the Rise of the Tomb Raider on PS4, and that's there's been plenty of kind of enthusiasm behind that, so hopefully it's been selling quite well. I understand it was a good game.
Saying that, just touching on this briefly, I played it at Eurogamer, and I wasn't impressed by it. I think because I already played the original on Xbox. All it is just a multiplayer expansion, but it didn't really grab me like the campaign did. It's good to see it in multiplayer. But I mean, it
does also have a Croft Manor VR mode.
See, VR again. That's something that's interesting. That they're obviously branching off in that direction.
They've shoehorned it in a little bit. It feels like, but I mean, fair enough to them to get it in there. But I thought it was funny when I think it was Official PlayStation Magazine did like a full supplement about VR, the launch of PSVR, and that was one of their big games that they were kind of pushing as kind of one of the big reasons to buy. And you're like, this is one mode that's in VR out of this actually big other game that's over here. But fair play, because I think they're doing the same with the Call of Duty,
Infinite
right?
Warfare, and with Battlefront as well to a degree. I think owners of Battlefront get the X-Wing flight game thing. And owners of Infinite Warfare get that's another flight thing. So they're just
which I mean, again, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, I don't mark them down for it, because at the end of the day, it makes a lot of sense if you've already got those people in the door.
It works.
But, I mean,
it works for me because I own both an Xbox One and a PS4 and PSVR, so that would make me buy the PS4 version, where previously I would have bought the Xbox One version. But how many people own both consoles and VR? Like, how many people are in my situation? Probably not many.
I mean, I think it's going to take another year maybe for it to feel like there's a decent base of PSVR games which are really making the most of it. Similar to when you get any new hardware released, and the first few games are generally a bit crap and limited. Although to be honest, there's been there's been plenty which are more than that.
Do you think then that, in the scheme of things, obviously with all these masses of releases and games that are obviously coming out in the future, you've got Horizon Zero Dawn, you've got obviously Resident Evil 7, should we hold out all of our excitement for these games? Because obviously No Man's Sky is an example of a game that everybody anticipated. Well, not everybody, but obviously they were really looking at
everybody who
like the Nintendo Switch. I was the naysayer long before. Like, this game is going to be crap.
it was one of those games that everybody was well, I say everybody, but they were looking forward to. But that's a lot down to obviously marketing from the manager. I can't remember his name, but he's got absolutely slated. Sean Murray. He got absolutely slated, and to this day, no questions are still answered about it. Like, you know, why the game failed to live up to expectations. Yeah, he's just gone completely off the radar.
The thing is, when the forest's burning all around you, it's safest off in a hole, you know, rather than trying to run through it. I mean, what else, I don't know what any one of us would do in that situation, but it seems like a no-win scenario really at this point. But I mean, in general, I think it's fair to say that the whole tale is a kind of cautionary one to us as kind of buying into hype and stuff like that, because, you know, realistically, games are games, and they are limited as limited as, you know, by people's imagination, by technology, or whatever it might be. So you can put all of your expectations into something, and it's still, you know, fair enough, it might exceed them, but it still might disappoint you, no matter how well informed you feel like you are. So you don't want to kind of fall into that trap. And so for some of those games, yeah, sure, some of them look really interesting, but I wouldn't pin my hopes and my dreams on them for sure.
Do you think as gamers, like obviously with the caliber of games that are coming out now and the age that we do live in gaming culture, that we should be more aware and of releases, you know, because they might not be what they're made out to be. Sometimes they're marketed at being a lot more than they are. Do you think we should be a bit more conscious of that, or do you think the games are just games? They are what they are. We should just buy them and enjoy them, and that's it.
I think it's easier than ever now to look up raw gameplay and see a game for what it is, away from the marketing side of things. So I actually think now more than ever, it's easier to not be duped by a game. All you have to do is wait until after release rather than pre-ordering it.
But then saying that,
although I'm not going to stand on my soapbox and say don't pre-order either, because I pre-order a hell of a lot of games, but only when it's a sure thing.
What about you, Liam? Do you pre-order games?
I haven't done for ages, but I actually pre-ordered the Skyrim Special Edition. But then I know I'm going to enjoy it because I love Skyrim, so I was quite happy to pre-order that, just to guarantee to have it on launch day.
Yeah. What about you, Chris?
I think the only game I pre-ordered was GTA 5, but again, that was just because it was a sure thing. Usually, I'll wait a couple of months at least and see if there's still interest in it.
I think we should finish with our most anticipated releases for the future. It seems that we have obviously discussed the games in full. We'll go over, you know, which games particularly like take our fancy. So we'll start with James. Like, what are you more excited about in the coming months?
What takes my fancy?
I know that Battlefield was one, wasn't it? Obviously, you're quite excited about.
Yeah, so I mean, Battlefield is already here, which is great, and probably Titanfall 2 will be by the time everyone's hearing this as well. But to be honest, Titanfall 2 has been my most anticipated for the year for probably since it was announced. I guess I think everything about how how Titanfall in general riffs on the first-person shooter genre plays into my style of how I play those games, in terms of, you know, it's not necessarily all about kills, and it's not necessarily you know, straightforward in terms of there's a lot of more verticality, although I know there's a lot of verticality in some of the more modern FPSs these days anyway. But really looking forward to that, definitely, although by now I'll be hopefully enjoying it. As for next year, I guess it's more hardware for me. I think the Switch is going to be really interesting. I haven't played any Wii U games, I don't think, at all. So if they port, when they port several games over to that, I'll be interested to give those a try in a kind of more relaxed couch co-op kind of setting. And then
I think they actually said digital Wii U titles should be backwards compatible. I don't think that's 100% positive.
Which is good.
Like physical games, definitely not. Downloads, possibly.
Yeah, I mean, because there's no CD drive and all that makes sense, I guess. But again, because I've skipped out the entire Wii U generation effectively, I've got all of that to come, so that should be a bit of fun. And then Scorpio at the end of the year, and who knows?
Something to anticipate. What about you, Liam?
It's probably bad, but Skyrim. I mean, I know it came out 5
No,
years ago.
that's for a lot of people. That's for a lot of people. So.
I mean, Gears is already here, and I was looking forward to that, and I really enjoyed it. But I'm gonna try Skyrim with mods this time round. I know they're out on Fallout already, but I didn't bother with them. But then I've heard the Frostfall mod is coming, and that sort of makes it a more survival experience, and I'm looking forward to trying that. And I think that'll be quite interesting. That's pretty much it for me. I'm not going to bother with Titanfall 2 either. Again, the beta kind of like just put me off a little bit. So yeah, Skyrim's going to keep me busy, I reckon. Oh, and I will be getting Infinite Warfare though, but I'm not really looking forward to it. I'm just more curious, so I'm going to get it.
Just that's the
sort of marketing that game needs. You should buy Infinite Warfare because you're curious about what it is.
But only mostly for the campaign, because I was watching some of the beta footage, and I mean, I know Chris wrote about how he doesn't like those kind of like fast-paced games anymore, and it does look very much like it's going to be one of those. I was a bit worried about how it's going to handle it, really. But I'm going to get the Legacy Edition because I want Modern Warfare Remastered as well. But yeah, I'm interested in the Infinite Warfare campaign. It sounds pretty cool, to be honest. Kind of like a Mass Effect Lite.
Cool. Sam?
It's hard to say for me. I can't say what specifically I test, but I work on a lot of games that are like a year or months out doing quality assurance testing.
Know as many secrets.
Tell us your secrets.
Which hump him for information.
Like every game I test kind of kills my anticipation for it, because I kind of just associate it with work. But
he's a broken man, people. Let's get out the violins here.
I feel sorry for him.
I actually have
one. I get paid to play video games.
You actually have one.
I came ready for it.
Probably going back to what we discussed before, it'd be Resident Evil 7, if only because like playing the kitchen demo and Until Dawn Rush of Blood for the first time in a long time have made me like giddy. I was like a child rediscovering gaming. So I think Resi 7 will tap into that.
Cool.
And I'm not working on that. Can confirm. So,
so you can enjoy them.
You heard it here first. I mean, the thing about that is that, Sam, unfortunately, you're gonna get that game and you're gonna enjoy. You're gonna start off and be all excited and all giddy and stuff, and then in about a month you're gonna be a broken shell of a man, traumatized by experiences in VR, unable to tell the difference between reality and the virtual world.
That's cool. Awesome. What about you, Chris?
I don't think there's a lot for me this year. But I'm looking forward to Paladins, the sort of Overwatch-esque mobile shooter from Hi-Res Studios. I don't work for them, by the way. I think that looks really good. Good, listening Hi-Res, you want to send some T-shirts, XXL. But I look forward to that. I'm a burly gentleman.
So for those who are not familiar with Paladins, do you want to kind of give us a bit of a rundown there, Chris, in a short while?
It looks, I wouldn't say exactly like Overwatch, but
I think we were going to say I wouldn't say exactly good. It looks.
It's very Overwatch, but it's free, which I mean.
I see. So really, what you want is Overwatch, which you already own.
Oh no!
They developed Smite as well, so imagine
Overwatch.
Overwatch and Smite have a baby.
Oh, nice!
Which is immediately reason for me to try it. So I'm with you, Chris. I'll play some.
My favourite. There we go. It'd be like Smite, but Overwatch.
But not
amazing.
Overwatch.
These marketing taglines are just writing themselves tonight.
I'll give that a go. I think I'll give that game a go. It's free. Why not?
I mean, anything. I was going to say, when something's free to play, it's very difficult to just kind of give it a go. At least, I think Smite, for example, is by no means my forte, as Sam will attest, or Sam and Chris will attest. But I think it's definitely you can appreciate it as a good game even if you're not very good at it. You can still enjoy it. So I think that's a key thing for those sorts of games.
Mine's quite limited, to be honest with you. Probably Horizon.
Snake 2?
Like Snake 2, yes. Snake 2. Probably, Horizon Zero Dawn, definitely. I'd probably just say, at the moment, just Horizon Zero Dawn. Eventually I'll be
Well, you're going to have a crap year if that game doesn't turn out to be good.
I know.
I should be careful not to pin on my host on this.
No. Have to be No Man's Sky all over again. But yeah, Resident Evil, like Sam said, eventually I will be purchasing PSVR at some point, more towards sort of Resident Evil 7's release date. So cool. So yeah, we'll end it here. Guys, if you've watched this far, thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed the podcast. I think we should say our outros. Say goodbye, James.
What, an outro? Like, am I supposed to do some sort of
just say
rap
hello,
or something?
Just say goodbye, guys. I'll miss you guys. Say goodbye.
Well, I haven't even met them yet, but I'm very, very sad to be leaving.
This podcast.
It's all over.
It's all over. Do an outro,
Liam? Bye.
Bye. Sam?
Catch you next time.
Cool. And Chris?
Say, guys, love you.
Awesome.
That felt genuine. I like
guys,
that.
if you've enjoyed this podcast, please remember to comment, rate, subscribe. We work very hard here to post new content for you guys, so we really we hope you enjoy it. So thank you very much, guys. We'll see you in the next video, and we'll see you soon. Bye.